Okay, overall, Canadian household debt has climbed 54% in the last 10 years to get this, 2.2 trillion. That's trillion with a T. And the average amount owed by students affected by debt is at a little over $14,000. So is it possible to live debt-free when we're at record level highs? I have two guests today who have done just that. OCTAVIA Ramirez is a financial expert who had a debt-free wedding, and TOYIN CRANDELL and her husband came out of over $23,000 worth of debt. Welcome to you both.
Thank you so much for having us.
So these are big stories. OCTAVIA, I want you to go first. Tell me how, the average wedding usually costs about $30,000.
Yes, it does.
You did this debt-free. How?
I did. Yes, a very extensive Google spreadsheet, I will say. But I think the #1 way that my then fiance, now husband, were able to do that was communication and a plan. So I joke about the Google spreadsheet, but it's true. We had spreadsheet upon spreadsheet, and we were both sharing those documents. And we had, of course, in-depth conversations about both of our incomes at the time. We had conversations about what are our expectations. Difficult conversation with family members about what are their expectations, and if it was something that we couldn't afford with the cash that we had or the income that was coming in, we weren't doing it. And so having a plan was, I think, the biggest key to being able to execute a debt-free wedding. Was it easy to put everything on a debit card and wait till we got paid on a Friday and then combine that? No, it was not easy. But I always say, if it's easy, everybody would be doing it. So,
but what was your motivation? Why did you want to walk down that aisle debt-free?
Yeah, so I had actually paid off credit card debt, I would say about 1.5 years prior to being engaged. And I've gotten my boyfriend at the time kind of involved in that too. And just experiencing life debt-free, just in general, was so liberating. I was able to take opportunities that I wouldn't have otherwise if I'd been burdened with that debt. So we just decided early on that moving into marriage and even planning our wedding, we weren't going to then burden ourselves again with debt. And especially, the statistics, I know everyone knows that, money issues is one of the biggest reasons a lot of marriages fail. And I didn't want to we wanted to set ourselves up for success with that. So it was a non-negotiable, to be honest. And thankfully, my husband and I, we were on the same page. We wanted a nice wedding, but we wanted to also be realistic and look at the numbers and see what the numbers were dictating what we could do. And of course, there were sacrifices that had to be made, but coming out of our wedding day and going to our honeymoon with no debt and no financial stress.
There's freedom in that.
That was priceless. So
okay, and then TOYIN, so you're saving up for a house currently.
Yes.
Was in $23,000 worth of debt. You and your husband were able to pay that off.
Just myself.
Oh, just yourself.
He's never had debt.
Okay, so Josh was coming in without any debt.
Yep.
And so you're now living saying, I'm saving for this house. If that means streamlining, that's what I'm going to do.
Yes, exactly. And for us, it's really similar to her, where I had paid off the $23,000 when I was single. And when we were getting married, the whole process has just been a commitment to continuing to live debt-free. So I know that feeling where you get married and you're done in abundance. And that was my thing, was I want to have more after to live. And so doing that and now stepping into the decision for getting a house. And I've found, especially as a finance coach, that there's so many people overburdened because of the decisions they made when choosing housing. And so for us, part of our decision making was moving out of the Greater Toronto area, which is where we were originally, moving to a much smaller town. I actually just love the environment, it's nature, it's beautiful. But also the housing is more accessible there. And that was a big decision to move away from family, community, our church at that time. And so choosing to do that a lot, and even the timing of getting our house. So it's very easy to say, well, we have income and we could apply for this and we can get this amount of a mortgage. But it's, for us, a lot better to actually just wait, save, go into it, and have no stress. That's my thing, is no financial stress.
So I know my friends at home are thinking these women are anomalies, but they're not. No. And they're going to tell us how.
We're normal.
And they're going to tell us how they did this.
Yes.
Stay with us. We'll be right back. Okay, so we're back with Octavia Ramirez and TOYIN CRANDELL, two women who have gotten out of debt, are living debt-free. What are some of the mistakes that we make when heading into debt?
I think one of the biggest things that keep people in debt, or let me talk about getting into debt.
Yeah.
So one of the most common things that I see for debt is car loans. And a lot of people will hear things like, well, you should get a car loan because it's going to help diversify your credit profile and make your credit better. And I tell people, someone telling you that is like telling you, go and take a chain, put it around your neck for the next however many years in order to improve a number. The truth is, you can improve your credit score without taking on something as limiting for as long as a car loan. That's one simple example. Another thing that I find a lot of people do is they want to get what they want right now. And I really, really try to talk to people about delayed gratification, where you live within your means, and when you have big goals, like, it doesn't mean don't enjoy your life. I love the topic of money because you can have fun while hitting big goals, but just prioritize what you really want in that moment. And if it's peace of mind, wait.
Okay, so we have a long list, but we can't get through it all. But I think you hit on something, TOYIN. I think people think, I want this now. I want those pair of jeans now. I want that outfit now. So Octavia, how do you deal with that, wanting something now, but knowing that your credit card is saying, not right now?
And you know what I will add just to that is that credit card companies, they know what they're doing. They have entire research and development teams behind this. So when you think, oh great, I'm getting 2% cash back on my groceries, or air miles, or whatever those points are. And I work primarily with millennials, and for them, like, collecting and squirreling away any kind of points is very enticing. And I always tell them, yes, exactly. And I say, like, well, why do you think that the credit card companies are giving you these points? Like, is it just because they're nice people? No. So really, yeah, I mean, you have to really ask those deep questions first and foremost of, why am I getting 0% down for however many months on this couch? And again, always know that these companies, they do the math. They know that in the long run, most people are not paying off their debts in full and are typically carrying a balance. And so they're going to make interest on that. They're going to make money off of you.
There are some people that are watching that will, like, glaze over during this segment and feel like it's just too big to even think about it. I'm just going to continue living the way I do, and if I want those pair of jeans, I'm just going to buy them now. So what's one simple, easy step that anybody can take into moving into a debt-free life, TOYIN?
The very first thing is look at it.
Look at the number.
Know the numbers.
So simple tip, go to creditkarma.ca. It's a free website. Create an account and have a look at your credit profile. See everything you owe, what the numbers are. People who feel very overwhelmed, I know the feeling. I thought I would never be debt-free in the beginning. It was impossible to me. But once I understood that it is possible, it changed everything for me. And I want to encourage those people specifically. It is possible for you to live debt-free, but you can't ignore it. Because if you ignore it, it will not go away. So easy thing, go to creditkarma.ca, create an account, have a look at what you owe so you can create a plan.
What's the next step?
I would say the next step is have a plan. If you need to work with a financial coach, or even a trusted friend or family member that maybe is a little bit more educated on finances, sit down, know your numbers, get them on paper. I see clients all the time, they're like, I'll say, do you have a budget? And they're like, yeah, it's in my head somewhere. No, it needs to, I don't care if you put it in a software, on a spreadsheet, or on
paper.
Pen and paper. I personally like to do pen and paper and software. So it has to get down somewhere. If you're married, you need to be working on these things together. So having a plan, not just for yourself, but also yourself as a couple, yourself as a family. And so having a budget and a plan for, how much are we both making, or how much am I making, bringing in as income? What are my expenses? What are some areas I could potentially cut a little bit and maybe sacrifice for a short amount of time in order to reach a longer term goal? So having that plan is going to be crucial for you.
Oh, this is so good. Thank you so much, both of you. Our time is up, but such great information to get a head start in living debt-free. Thanks again.
Thank you
for
so
having
much
us.
for having us.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.